Hi, I'm Jarrad Brown, Australian expat financial planner based here in Singapore. Thank you for tuning into my video today. What I would like to cover in this video is a few considerations to think about, particularly for Australian expats, but it does apply to Australian residents as well, is the answer to the question, is a property buyer's agent actually worth the fee? So in this video, I'm going to share with you what a buyer's agent is and the various versions of buyer's agents in the market, when you might want to consider one and when it might make sense for you, and when you should maybe go the other way and when a buyer's agent may not make the most sense. So hopefully this will at the very least give you some factors to think about and how a buyer's agent may or may not be suitable for your own situation. So let's get right into it. Now, a buyer's agent in simple terms is a real estate agent or real estate professional, a real estate advisor that works to your specific mandate. By that I mean you give them instructions on the areas you'd like to buy, the price points, the features of the property, any other criteria that that property must meet. They will then get to work for you with both off-market and on-market deals. Off-market meaning it's not advertised or not listed on the common websites and common advertisement areas that properties are often listed for sale, and they will reach out to their network to identify, hopefully, some suitable options that are going to meet that mandate. Now, for that service, you will pay them a fee. That fee will often range anywhere from about 1.5 to 3% of the value of the property. Now, these do vary, but often they are in line with real estate commissions in the various states and territories in Australia. So it's not an insignificant expense, however, they should have their interests aligned with yours. So by that I mean that a buyer's agent that is working solely for you should not be getting paid by the vendor. By that I mean shouldn't be getting paid by the seller of the property. Because if they are, now it's not to say that they're a bad buyer's agent or advisor if they are, but just make sure that you're aware so that you can clearly identify any conflict of interest and make sure that you're getting the right advice when it comes to your property investment. So let's have a look at when a buyer's agent may be an entirely sensible option for you to consider with your property purchase. Now, in terms of when a buyer's agent may be sensible for you, there are a few critical criteria that you may want to consider. Firstly is how tight is the market that you're looking to buy into. By that I mean how often are the types of properties you would like to buy transacting, how often are they being listed for sale, how long are they staying on the market for, how many buyers are actually submitting offers in the areas that you're looking, how many are owner-occupiers, how many are investors, what is the population, etc., etc. i.e. how easy it is for you to actually get into that market. The second one is if you have a very specific mandate. Now by that I mean it may be that the property has to face a certain way, a certain height, a certain view, whatever it may be, perhaps your mandate is very specific, particularly if it's a property you're looking to move into, and that may mean that you just don't have the time or access to the information to actually go out and identify a suitable property for you. The third time is if you don't have time or the expertise to actually attend auctions. Now this is pretty critically important when we look to the East Coast, largely Sydney and Melbourne, where a lot of properties do transact via auction. If you don't have time to actually be going to these auctions, then it can make a lot of sense to actually employ someone to act on your behalf. It's also important to highlight that they are acting without emotion. They know the games, they know the tricks, they know the various strategies when it comes to bidding at auctions. So if you are going by yourself, just be very careful, ensure you have strict criteria and avoid overpaying or getting carried away and swept away with the emotion of bidding at auctions. That can be a very critical one when it comes to actually utilising a buyer's agent. Now the other time I find a buyer's agent can be very sensible is if you are looking for a development site. Now that may be a large quarter-acre block that can be split into 2, 3 or 4 different blocks. You may be looking to build townhouses, units, whatever it may be. Again, if this is not something that you have a lot of expertise in, this can be a great time to utilise a buyer's agent They have access to great information, some great technology and various software tools, and they can identify often where the most sensible development site's going to be, what the traps are, what the councils are like to deal with, how quickly you can make things happen. They can run the numbers and potentially also give you some guidance around the structuring of owning those properties in that area as well. So there are a few times that it may make a lot of sense to utilise a buyer's agent. I hope you find that helpful. Let's have a look at when a buyer's agent may not make the most sense. So when it comes to when a buyer's agent may not be the most suitable option for you, there are a few times that this may be the right course of action to do it yourself. So firstly, if you just don't like paying fees, well, chances are it's going to be built into the price anyway because the agent is going to need to be paid. But if you're a first-time buyer or you have a limited budget and you don't want that additional expense or simply can't afford it, that can be a very easy way to say, look, I'm just going to do this myself. I don't want to pay that extra $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, whatever that fee may be, or you may not be able to borrow it without actually going into lender's mortgage insurance territory and adding more expenses to your overall property purchase. The next time is if you have both the time and the expertise to simply go out and do this yourself. Then if you do and you're comfortable with your level of expertise, you don't feel a buyer's agent's going to add value, or you're simply finding that there are enough properties that meet your criteria, you're happy to do it yourself. Again, that may be a very sensible path to take, to simply go and do it yourself. The next time is again, if you're finding there are plenty of properties that suit your criteria, your mandate is not that strict, you have a relatively open book or flexible set of criteria, again, it may be sensible to simply do it yourself. A lot of people make the mistake of assuming a buyer's agent is only a good option if they can save you money on the actual property purchase price, but that really couldn't be further from the truth. That is certainly one of the areas they could add value, but I think the analytical skills around participating at auctions, identifying development sites, ensuring that you don't overpay and getting the structuring right can often add a lot more value over the long run. So I hope that sheds a bit of light for you around when and when not to consider using a buyer's agent. Again, this is not a one-size-fits-all approach, so speak to your advisor, speak to a few buyer's agents and get a sense of whether you feel that they'll add value for you. If you have any questions, comments, stories to share, drop me a note in the comments. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time.